All right, we are back talking about the general principles of what creates speed, and we are talking more specifically about what is great timing. And so last time we talked about arm-to-arm timing, so the timing between the arms, specifically in backstroke and freestyle, because butterfly and breaststroke, both arms are doing the same thing at the same time. So now we're going to talk about arm-to-leg timing, which takes place in all strokes. It's pretty important in freestyle and backstroke, and I'll show you why that is in a second, and it is extremely important in breaststroke and butterfly. However, that doesn't mean that timing is really complicated. That is not the case. However, that doesn't mean that arm-to-leg timing is complicated. It's actually really simple. It's just a matter of helping swimmers feel how to do it and how to execute it, especially when they get tired. Well, when you're watching it, it really seems like a whole lot's going on. There's usually just a couple key points where things have to be synced up pretty well, and when they are, good things happen. So let's take a look at it. So in freestyle, what is happening here with the legs and the arms is that the legs can help to transition from one side to the other. And so we'll see here, this athlete is swimming with a 2-beat kick, and we'll watch as one arm enters right there. You can see that opposite leg flicks there. And so when the left arm enters, it shifts the body to the left. When the right leg kicks, it pops the right hip up right there, and that further shifts the body to the left. And so when those two things happen at the same time, it's going to make it a lot easier to flip from one side to the other. We'll watch the same thing happen on the other side. So right arm enters. You can see that left leg getting ready to kick. The hip is down. And then boom, they both happen at the same time. He pops over to his other side. And so it's a really easy way to get a good rhythm, and it makes it much easier to transition from side to side. So if you notice, when he's pulling is when he's rotating to that side. So if he pops the leg and that helps him get a little momentum for his roll, it's going to make it easier to get through the arm pull. So it's all about efficiency, using momentum, helping to use as many different aspects of the stroke as possible to shift from one side to the other rather than trying to use muscular effort or trying to force it. It just makes things a lot easier. And so when swimmers get that timing down, they tend to swim a lot more efficiently and a lot more effectively. So now we'll take a look at it at speed. And so this is when a guy's going 142 with 100 freestyle, so he's moving pretty fast. So what we'll watch here is his right arm's about to enter, and you can see that left kick has flipped up, and boom, left leg kicks, he gets onto his right side. And he's doing a 6-beat kick here, so that same rhythm's still there. It's just happening. Those extra kicks are layered in on top of it. Now his right arm's about to, or his left arm's about to enter here. You can see that left kick getting ready to go. And then boom, he switches over to the other side. And so right there, he's kicked, he's transitioned, and he's got that arm entering the water there. And so it's the same idea. It's just the legs are being used to help facilitate the rotation so that nothing else has to make it happen. So right, boom, right there, and then right there. So not super complicated, but that's all it really is. If swimmers can learn how to feel that and learn how to do that, they're going to be a lot more effective because their kick is going to be helping them transition from different phases in the stroke rather than just pushing them down the pool. It can do both, and when it can do both, it's going to be a lot more effective. So now we'll take a look at the same thing in backstroke, and what we'll see is the swimmers are using the same basic strategy to help facilitate that rotation. It's just on the back. And so the left arm is here, and so he's on his left side, so he needs to get to his right side. And so if you watch the right leg, right here, it's kicking through. It's going to push his right hip down, which is going to push the left hip up. You can see he just switched there. You can see that right leg is pointed straight up because it's doing that full kick. And that's going to pop the right hip down, the left hip up, and now he's switching to his other side. And so we'll see it the same thing on the other side. He's on his right side here, and that left leg is kicking, and then it's just finishing that kick, and then immediately he starts coming back the other way. And so using the feet, using the legs as torque to switch the position of the hips, and they're doing it at the same time as when they pull, so that way they can get the whole body switching from side to side without having to like physically pull the body across or try to torque themselves across. That's simply not going to work. And so by using two things happen at the same time, it makes it less stressful on each one of those. So the left hand right here is going to pop the body to the right, and then the right leg is also going to help facilitate the body movement to the right. So you can see that right there, and we'll see it one more time on the left here. So boom, that left kick has just popped his hip coming back towards us right as the right hand finishes going the other way. Legs are used to help shift the body from side to side, and it happens within a 6-beat kick in backstroke. It can happen with either a 2-beat or a 6-beat kick in freestyle. It makes the transitions a whole lot smoother, and it makes that stroke a lot more efficient because swimmers don't have to work to rotate the body. It just happens when the arms and the legs are working to do the same thing at the same time. Breaststroke timing. Now in freestyle and backstroke, if swimmers don't get that quite perfect, they can still swim pretty fast. You don't see many breaststrokers messing this up and swimming fast. And what it is, it's simple. When the arms are pulling, right there, you see how streamlined the legs are? They're not kicking yet. And then when the arms recover, they've completed their propulsion. Now the legs go. And you can notice right when he starts to kick, upper body's in streamline. And so whenever he's hitting the gas, whether it's his pull or his kick, he's not hitting the brakes. And if he was to try to recover the arms while he's kicking, it's like hitting the gas and the brakes at the same time. It's just a huge waste of energy. So we'll watch it again here. He pulls. Look how straight his legs are. When he pulls, he's finished his pull. And now he starts to recover the arms and the legs at the same time. And so he's not applying any propulsion right now. And so that's when he recovers the arms. And so now once his arms are recovered, he's in streamline again. Now he's just started to actually create propulsion with the legs. And so it's arms and then legs, and then arms and then legs. And so this is an Olympic final. This is a guy breaking a world record. He's not holding back in 100. And so he's able to execute this separation at speed when going as fast as he can. This red marker is the 25 marker. You can see the time at the bottom. He's last 25. He's hurting too. And he's still arms, legs, arms, legs. It's simple. It's not easy to do, but breaststroke timing is pretty simple. It's just a separation of the arms and the legs, and it makes sense too. You're creating as much propulsion as you can with the upper body when the legs are streamlined, and then you're creating as much propulsion with the lower body as you can when the arms are streamlined. Now, this is a world championship final. This is a 200. So he's in streamline. Now he kicks. And then legs are straight. Starts his pull. He has not recovered his legs. Look how straight they remain. Finishes his pull, and then he starts recovering his legs, and then he gets back into the stroke. And so in breaststroke, the difference between the 100 and the 200 is that there's more time between the arms and the legs. There's a little bit more separation, especially when the whole body's in streamline. After the kick, there's a pause before swimmers get back into the stroke. And so the arm pull doesn't really change. The leg pull doesn't change. The overall timing doesn't change. The space between the actions changes. And so that's where swimmers need to learn how to modulate that in order to swim fast. They need to change their arm to leg timing, not the how it's timed, but just the degree of the timing. And when they can do that well, then they can change speeds and do so efficiently. And so a lot of swimmers, when they try to sprint, what they end up doing is they just mash everything together and it just becomes a mess. And that's why you get swimmers that try twice as hard and swim the same time or even slower. So keep things separated, arms, and then legs. We'll watch one more swimmer here, just another sprint athlete. You can see legs just started kicking and she's in line. Arms pulling, legs are still in line. She just finished her pull, her legs are still in line. Back in front, kicking, arms are in line. And so again, it's arms and the legs, arms and the legs. How much space depends on the event swimmers are swimming, and it also depends on the characteristics that they have. If they have a really good kick, they probably can glide in front a little bit more. If they do not have a good kick, or they're swimming a sprint, they're probably not going to glide as much in the front of the stroke. And so that's how the timing changes. It depends a lot on the event, and it depends also on the swimmer as well. Simple, not so easy to do. But once we understand what's actually happening, it makes it a lot easier to go about finding ways to actually help swimmers learn these skills. Now, butterfly, also not particularly complicated. Also really important that swimmers get this right. And when they do, they can swim fast. And when they don't, they're really going to struggle. So we're looking at arm to leg timing. And so it's 2 key points. You kick, boom, when the arms enter. And then you kick, boom, when the arms exit. And the reason for that is simple. The kick gets the hips up. So the first kick, when swimmers have just taken the breath, they're pretty vertical, or they're certainly more vertical than they want to be. That's going to create more drag. And so they need to get back in line as fast as they can. And so that kick gets the hips back up when they were probably down a little bit during that breath. So if swimmers can get back in line at the beginning of each stroke, they're going to be much better situation. We've all seen swimmers that just kind of creep up. They get more tired. They stop doing the kick. They get more vertical. They get more vertical. They get more vertical. And it all just falls apart. And so that first kick is key to get everything back in line. And then here, boom. The kick needs to get the hips back up so the swimmers can actually get their arms up to the surface and then over the surface, as opposed to trying to drag them through the water. Because if the hips are low at that point, it's going to be nearly impossible to get the arms out of the water. And so that's why it's so key to do the kicks at certain times to get the hips up to help keep alignment and minimize the disruption of alignment because of the arm recoveries in particular. That's what makes butterfly so difficult, is swimmers have to recover both arms at the same time out of the water, and they need to be doing certain things with the legs to minimize the impact of it. And obviously the legs do other things in terms of creating propulsion, but right now we're just focusing on the impact of timing. So boom, pops the hips up, pops the hips up, pops the hips up, pops the hips up. That's all the kick's doing, but if you don't do it at the right time, it's either going to wreck the arm recovery, it's going to make the arm recovery nearly impossible to do, or it's simply just going to create more drag because it's not getting swimmers out of poor positions. So different swimmer here, boom, 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 boom. And you can see the hips pop up, and you can see the hips pop up. And it's happening each stroke. And if those kicks aren't there, they're not strong enough, they're not at the right time, the swimmers are going to really struggle to get the arms out of the water. So again, kick timing and arm timing is not complicated in butterfly. It's simple. However, getting swimmers to do it is a little bit more challenging. But if you have a clear understanding of what actually needs to happen, you can go about designing a plan, a program, activities, sets to help swimmers figure it out. If you're not clear about what it is, or you're focusing on little details that maybe don't matter, then it's going to be a lot harder to do that. So stay focused on what the key aspect of arm to leg timing is, and make sure that you're training that, developing that, and regardless of the stroke, it's going to help swimmers swim more effectively, more efficiently, and most importantly, it's going to help them swim faster. So be aware of what the key timing events are and figure out a way to help swimmers learn them.